So, there I was, enjoying some YouTube videos when all of a sudden,
even if some pussed out,
there was my thumbnail in a video, and here's what they had to say.
with 7 and 10 day challenges instead. Yes, I'm calling you out.
If you enjoy Platinum content, you know who Mayo is, and if you don't, why not? His content is amazing. He lightheartedly calling out creators who've only done 10 Platinums in 10 days. So there was only one thing to do, and that was accept the challenge. This video is a journey filled with glitches, mistakes, illness, and a whole load of bugs. And what started as an exciting challenge finished in the depths of despair, so come with me on my journey to get 30 Platinums in 30 days. Pretty much same rules go as the ones I've done previously. It has to be a 0 to Platinum. It can't be shovelware. This one is up for debate. Some people who watch will probably say that some of these are. Let me know what you think about these games, and if you think any of them are shovelware. I don't. To me, shovelware is where you are literally clicking 1, maybe 2 buttons, and it lasts less than 30 minutes. And lastly, I want to try and fit in at least 1 or 2 games that you don't normally see in these videos. Give you something new to see, maybe. Yo, what's going on? So it is currently, I don't know if you can see that, it's 11:26 on Thursday the 18th of September. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are you starting this 30 days and 30 challenge or at 11 o'clock or 11:30? Well, I was getting ready, finished for my Assassin's Creed Platinum, which video may be out by now. So if you haven't already, check it out. But we are going to be starting with something a little bit more relaxed, which is Football Manager 2024, the console edition. Now, the idea I had was to have a like 15-20 hour or so one in the background, playing it a couple of hours a day, in between the 2 to 6 to 8 hour games that we could do shorter and get them on. So I went with Football Manager 2024 to start. Guide said it was around 15 hours or so I started that and got a handful of trophies before going to bed. Football Manager is basically just keep winning and winning trophies, and it'll pop. There's trophies for winning leagues, winning cups, getting promotions with clubs, getting clean sheets. So it's an ideal one to just run through a couple of hours a day in between the games until it popped. Day 2 rolls around and we start our next game and Platinum with What Lies in the Multiverse. What Lies in the Multiverse is a retro 2D 8-bit style puzzle platformer where you play as a boy who breaks the multiverse. You work your way through the worlds, popping between 2 different versions of that level in order to get to the other end. There's a running theme of shame and grief that runs through the story, which is pretty interesting. And while not overly difficult, some of the puzzles can be a bit of a pain. The trophy consists of completing the game, doing certain actions in each level, and there is one missable trophy that you need to complete, which is to perform 2 QuickTime events in one run, which I stupidly didn't and wasted time, which you will see is a running theme in this challenge. I didn't manage to get the Platinum in day 2, and day 3, well, this is the current progress we've made. I am only 25% done on Football Manager, and I've just got my first Platinum after day 4. Fortunately, a few things happened over the weekend, so I don't know if I said this on the channel before, but I have to have dialysis like 4 or 5 times a week, and it can take up anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of the day. So I've quickly realized that unless I do something, this challenge isn't getting done. Now, the machine that I get hooked up to is in a different room. PlayStation's in here, so I thought, why not get myself one of these bad boys. So we've got our PlayStation Portal, which now means that we can carry on the trophy progress while we're having the treatment, and we should hopefully get somewhere. Now, I was planning on doing less of the 2 to 4 hour trophies. I was going to try and get quite a few of the beefers in. If we get halfway through the challenge and we're not there or thereabouts, at least halfway, we'll start throwing in not shovelware, just games that can be quick that I like the look of. So we now have a portal to help us with our trophy grind, so I was a little bit more confident on getting this one done. Day 5, and we have 1 trophy. I have some major catching up to do. Now, with only 1 trophy down, the next place to turn is a series of games I knew would be easy to get the Platinum, and that is a Telltale game. Now, we have done The Expanse and Batman already, and in this challenge, we are getting Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones follows a small family in the north during the aftermath of the Red Wedding, between the family home and up in the north with the White Walkers, and some secret garden place beyond the wall. Although it has no bearing on the show, it does have some of the characters from it, and we all know Telltale Games, all you have to do is experience every episode, and the platinum's yours. A week in and 2 platinum trophies is not a great amount of progress. With the Game of Thrones done, we moved on to an absolute classic, one of the greatest PlayStation mascots there is, and that's Sly Raccoon. This game is a PS2 port of the original game, which still holds up today. You play as a thieving raccoon looking to steal back the Thievius Raccoonus, his family's Robin book. The trophies for this are completing the game, opening the safes, finishing the time trials, and certain levels have specific requirements for you to do. All of these are pretty basic and don't require too much thought. This game though, besides the fact that the aspect ratio is weird, it still holds up today. I don't know if it's the cel-shaded art style, but it actually looks pretty good on a PS5. Like, I don't know whether they've done anything to it or not. And that one didn't take too long, so we managed to finish off day 7 with a quirky little indie title that seems to be on a few of these lists, but I wanted to check it out for myself as it does look pretty cool. And that's Concrete Genie. Concrete Genie follows Ash, an aspiring artist who, in his local town that was once a picturesque place, but now is not so much. And what's worse, his bullies are here, and you basically go around with your magic brush creating these genies to help you bring some color to the place, as well as learning a valuable lesson in the fact that you don't know what's going on in people's lives. Truly, this platinum was a nice, chill, relaxing game where you complete the story, finish the paintings in a certain way, and get your genie to do things with different painting options. Day 9 came around and we polished off the last remaining trophies on Football Manager to get platinum number 5. And moved on to a PlayStation Plus game from September, that being Viewfinder. Honestly, Viewfinder is a fun game based around perspective and taking pictures. The platinum is easy, but you do need a guide as some of the trophy descriptions are a little bit ambiguous. If you're not doing the challenge and don't have a time constraint, I urge you to play the game blind and then go back, as there is a chapter select for you to clean up anything you do miss. We are now starting to get on a roll. And as I said, I wanted to put some games in this challenge that you don't ordinarily see. There's going to be a few that you do, and this next game, I'm sure I've not seen anyone do this in this list. This PS3 classic is one of those god-awful movie, TV tie-ins with janky controls, awful cutscenes, where for some reason they all have random voice actors that sound nothing like the person they're playing, except for the one character, which is Ducky actor David McCallum.
Tony, would you also take a photo of the victim's sidearm? We need to move the body, but I'm afraid we will disturb the weapon if we do it before you take the photo.
Sure, Duck.
Maybe to give the show a sense of legitimacy? This platinum is easy. You essentially go through episodes of the show, solving crimes with them all being tied in at the end. You get every trophy for just completing the story. If you're a fan of the show like me, it's a nice little look at 2011 NCIS episodes that you never saw. If only they got the whole cast to play a part, it probably would have been a little bit better. We need to make progress, so I had a look at this bad boy, and it can be cheesed with cheats. Don't judge me. You all know you would do it too if you were under a time constraint. Doom and Doom 2 is a collection of the original Doom games, as well as the DLC or mods, whatever you call them. The trophies revolve around time trials, finishing the game on the hardest difficulty, getting kills specific with certain weapons, and the fact that you can level select from the get-go, as well as there being a no clipping cheat, a god mode, and all the weapons and keys. This thing can be ironed out in a couple of hours. Finishing this gave me the chance to try a game that I wish was a little bit of a longer game, as it's actually probably one of my top 3 shooters of the year. Granted, it didn't come out this year. If this was made by a bigger studio where bugs could be ironed out a little more and the increase in the length of the time, and that is Bright Memory Infinite. It's a game from a Chinese studio where you play as an operative who's sent into the eye of a hurricane, and strange things start to happen. Time travel and other universes, some sort of glowing orb. Where the story lacks a little, the gameplay makes up for it. With a small selection of great weapons, a sword, an anti-gravity glove, you absolutely dominate, and the combinations you can pull off are brilliant. The game requires 2 playthroughs, as you need to defeat the game on the second hardest difficulty and then the hardest difficulty, as well as just getting a set number of kills with each weapon. The platinum is straightforward. Word of advice, if you are going to be trying it, make sure you utilize your sword more, especially on the final boss. This next game is about as close to shovelware as we're going to get on this list. While it's not just a 1 or 2 button thing, there's not a lot to it, and that's bridges and docks. It's exactly what it says on the name. You build bridges and docks. There's a little bit more to it. It's to build your island and put what you want where you want, make it look however you want. The trophy list is just place blocks, build bridges, put buildings down. There's a tutorial you need to finish to unlock everything, and then after that takes about an hour, maybe 45 minutes after the tutorial to get the trophies. Honestly, this was a nice, relaxed, chill game after the Bright Memory Infinite shooter, so I would suggest anyone wants to put the feet up and have a bit of a play, go for it. With that only taking a couple of hours, I started Disney Pixar's Up. Now, I have the original PS3 Platinum, and I saw it had a PS5 version, so I thought, why not? It's probably the same game, just remastered. But I made that mistake with Toy Story 3, and it seems like Disney like putting up the PSP ports onto the console as a proper game, rather than the old PS3 versions. Honestly, I'm glad they did. It made it quicker than the full release. Just complete every level, collect all the collectibles, win the bug smashing or catching contest depending on who you play, and finally there's a handful of levels where you sort of ride a bird or pilot a raft or fly around, and you just need to get a no-hit run on one of those levels. Now, with it being a port, there is the rewind feature, which makes that trophy a whole lot easier. Now, this game is on every list that you see in these types of videos, so for the sake of continuity, we are as well. And that's Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator, as you know, has you running around maps as a goat with ragdoll physics. All of the trophies are straightforward. Collect all of the goats, reach to the top of a hotel without using the lift, lick a roller coaster, but the one that everyone dreads is the Flappy Goat. And I naively thought, it can't be that bad, it's just an old game, like an app from a phone. Well, I started this around midnight and thought, I know, I'll get a handful of trophies done pretty quickly, finish with the Flappy Goat one, go to bed. Well, I ended up giving up at like 10 to 4 in the morning. I would show you footage, but it is literally the only clip that is corrupted out of that game, so great. Here's an image of the file showing you the time that it was recorded. We finished that day and wake up the next day, and we actually managed to get Flappy Goat of all trophies while I was sat on dialysis with my PS Portal. Maybe the input lag between the portal and the console actually helped me, I don't know, but either way it was done, I wasn't questioning it. The rest again were just random trophies, and we finally got the platinum. We are now slowly catching up, and the next game is Terminator Resistance. Now honestly, this game missed me when it originally dropped, and shout out to Whooper who suggested it while he was in my chat on livestream. This game is a love letter to the original movie. Honestly, one of the things I remember from watching the original movies when I was younger was I always wished that we spent more time in the future, and now with Terminator Resistance, I can. The story, while generic, ties things into the original movie in a nice, clean way. Made by the same people who created the RoboCop game. Again, another love letter to the original in my opinion. Video for which I've already got up on the channel. The platinum is complete the game and finish the DLC Infiltrator mode where you play as a Terminator. There is one missable trophy which if you keep your eye out for and level up your character accordingly, you'll be fine. Day 15, this is where I made my first mistake. I used a website called Plat Prices to work out time frames for platinums so that I could narrow down games that I wanted to play so that I can fit them into my schedule. And there was one that looked pretty good, and that's The Pedestrian. It's a puzzle game where you are a 2D drawing of like an exit man, you know, like the ones that you see on exit signs, and you move around a 3D world into different blueprints and pictures and road signs. It's a really good game. I urge you to play it. Only one tiny problem, there is no platinum. My stupid ass took the website at face value and I selected it and didn't bother looking until I'd finished because it only takes a couple of hours, and I was deflated to say the least. So with a couple of hours wasted and still being behind, I picked another game and made sure it has a platinum, and that's Moving Houses. This is a game where you move house. You work your way from room to room, packing up your belongings and putting them in a van. But all is not what it seems. Now, for the platinum, you just need to pack up all the rooms with a couple of miscellaneous trophies to boot, and some of the extra levels you get, and this game is a good way to pad your golds if you're so inclined. Now, today is the day we finally catch up. I looked through my catalogue and found a game I bought a while ago and forgot about. Before I started trophy hunting again properly, it was mainly for nostalgia, but after looking it up, it was a platinum I can add to the list, and that being the Aladdin and Lion King duo pack. These games growing up were some of the first games I remember on the SNES. I remember renting it from Blockbuster of all things and not even getting past the first level. Now, these are the Sega versions, but who really cares? Like Doom, there are cheats to make it easier, along with a watch mode where you can play it right up to the point where you need to be, load it in, back out with the save, go back in and get the trophy. This only took a couple of hours, leaving me with one game to get by the end of the day to be fully caught up. Scribblenauts was a game on the DS, if I remember, and it was a puzzle game where if you could think of it, it would make it for you to solve the puzzle. I even remember making God to solve one puzzle and the devil to make the other. Everything you typed in, it would just generate it. It's been years since I played this game, and it seems there's been a bunch more made since, and I decided to try Scribblenauts Showdown. It's essentially a Mario Party style game. It's got mini games, board games, but should have looked up the game beforehand, because one of the mini games is a game similar to the one that I have done already, and there is also a trophy tied to it, unfortunately, and you guessed it, it's that Flappy Bird remake again. In this game mode, you have to make something, so it will spin a wheel, give you a letter, and you then need to make something with that letter and bounce on it. You then need to finish the level without hitting anything at all, and you'll get the trophy. I tried a whole bunch of different things, but in the end, we managed to get it using a planet of all things. Now, you would think that I would have learned my lesson about picking a game that doesn't have a platinum, right? Well, here we have Croc, the forgotten stepchild of the PlayStation 1 mascots that never ended up getting the love it deserved. But they have now remastered it, and I was so down to play it and get the platinum. Unfortunately, it doesn't have one, but luckily I only got halfway through this time before realizing, but I did lose obviously a good chunk of time. Just as I'd caught up, I ended up being behind again. It's like I'm subconsciously sabotaging myself. Day 18 comes around and we booted up Lake. Lake is a game where you play as Meredith, who moves back home to her small town surrounded by a lake, and you take up her dad's role of a mailman while he retires. You go through a week of meeting new people, old friends, making deliveries. The game's platinum is obtained by completing the story while doing some optional quests. There are multiple endings, but you can get it in one run just by saving at the right time. The art style is one of the best features, and if you check it out, make sure you have a good look around the video rental store. This is where things go a little bit sideways. The day started off just fine. We got the platinum for Jasant, which is a free climbing game where you climb the tower filled with artifacts of a long-gone civilization. It has a cool mechanic about how you climb and you swing that I haven't come across in a game before, but be honest, I've never really played many climbing games. The platinum for this is just climbing to the top of the tower that turns into a mountain and then collect all the collectibles. There are 2 or 3 random things you need to do for the last trophies, and then that was it. With that finished, I decided to grab some food. It wasn't long after eating that food that my stomach decided to notify me that I should not have ate. So I spent the next day dealing with those ramifications, and into the next day, I spent most of that day in bed. And I was falling behind again. So I did something I told myself I was not going to do when I started this challenge, but my immune system had other ideas. So we got the platinum for...
Hello, I'm Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig is the most basic of basic games. Obviously, it's meant for little children. There is not a lot to say. Complete the episodes, do some basic things, and the platinum is yours. Goosebumps Dead of Night is a sequel to the Goosebumps game, but it's a little different. Basically, it's the same game or gameplay loop of Hello Neighbor. You move around the house trying to stop Slappy the doll from taking over the world while hiding from different monsters from the book. It has 3 levels, all based around different Goosebumps story. For the platinum, you just need to complete those 3 levels and essentially get caught or taken out by every single monster in the game. I then also got the platinum for Zombie Town. This again was a platinum that didn't take too long. People may call this shovelware. I don't think it is. The reason I picked this game is it reminded me of one of those games that you got on Newgrounds. If anyone's old enough to remember the website Newgrounds, then they'll know, with like Gangster Wars and stuff like that. It just reminded me of that, and I thought I'll give it a go. You essentially beat waves of zombies in 5 different style of levels. To get the platinum, you just need to defeat 5 levels of each of the types of levels, max your character out, max level of guns, and unlock all of the guns and characters. Days 21 and 22 was the release date of Battlefield 6, so I gave in to the urge to wait and ended up grinding. But don't worry, in the daytime, while I was on dialysis, I managed to make some progress on the next game, finishing it on day 22, and that is Telltale's Batman Within. This is the sequel to the Telltale game and following Bruce going undercover, essentially turning the Joe character from the first game into Joker. There are massive consequences, but I will say compared to the original Batman Telltale, this one was not as good in my opinion. The story just felt a little bit weaker. Again, just complete the story and you get the platinum. Now, I know there has been a little bit of fodder, mainly due to the food poisoning, so I decided to get a game that I've been wanting to play for a while, and that is Astro Bot is the full release or sequel to Astro's Playroom, which is a game that comes with the PS5. Astro Bot builds on the original, giving you more bots to collect, more PlayStation franchises in there, more worlds. The secret worlds are pretty cool. You've got like a Horizon world and an Ape Escape world. To get the platinum, you need to beat all of the worlds, collect all of the bots. And while the majority are easy, there are 4 different worlds based on like the controller buttons. Those are quite difficult as you have to run it with no checkpoints. I was starting to flag a little and was struggling to find what to play, but I'd come across a game that I'd played years ago on the PS3 and now has trophy support, and that's Pinball Heroes. It's a bunch of pinball tables based around PS3 titles like MotorStorm, Mod Nation Racers, and while it can be done pretty quickly, the trophy guide says it's about an hour, and that's if you're any good at pinball, which I am not. To get the platinum, you just need to get the high score on all of the tables, play all of the tables, and then tilt the table 10 times. It's as simple as that, if you can play pinball. Now, I picked this game as I thought it was going to be like a Tetris game, and it was kinda, you need to fit the blocks in place, and when you get like a full line, it disappears, but they don't sort of drop in like Tetris. You get 3 of the shapes to pick from, and you have to fit them in. Problem is, the game is so bad. The sensitivity is awful. Like, look at this. This is me barely moving the analog stick. Complete 50 levels, fail the game 15 times, and the platinum's yours. But I will say now, don't play it. It looks good. It's not good. The next game is free, and it's called The Light in the Darkness, and it follows a family during World War II. There's no voice acting. It's basic. The art style, while it leaves something to be desired, it's actually what drew me to actually try it. It's a sad story that I urge you to play, and by the end of the story, you will have the platinum. Snaky Bus is a game where you drive a bus, pick people up, and you drop them off. When you drop them off, you get more buses. Like Snake, the game where the more you do, the longer it gets. There are different maps, different buses. The aim is to get high scores, unlock buses, and the end goal really, which is sort of the hardest trophy to get, is to get 420 carriages long, which in one life can get pretty difficult, especially when the maps are pretty cramped and windy, and you need to remember every turn you took 4 turns ago in order to not run into the back of your own bus. Day 28 is where we run into our first failed platinum due to a bug. The game 30 Sports Games in One is a game full of mini-games and tournaments, and you need 4 controllers in order to get the platinum, which, because of my controller addiction of buying scuff controllers, I have enough to do that. So I thought, great, I'll leave it till the last, I'll get everything else done, and we'll just connect the 4 controllers. Problem is, the digital version got an update where the tournaments with 4 players has an ice hockey game, and as soon as you score, the game just bugs out. It won't start again. It just brings up the score 1-0, bring up the score 1-0, bring up the score, and it just keeps going and going and going. I left it for 20 minutes in the hopes that it would kick itself back in, and it didn't. After looking on the internet, it turns out it's a bug. Only the physical version is platinum obtainable. So I went looking for another game. Now, when I was a kid, I remember a family member having an Amiga. Newgrounds, Amiga, SNES. I'm showing my age so much in this video. There was a Micro Machines game on it. It was a top-down racer where you raced toy cars on pool tables, desks, kitchen worktops. So when I saw this game, it immediately like sparked that memory and I was like, I'll give it a go. Tinker Racers is just that. It's a top-down racing game where you race toy cars. There's 18 tracks, 6 in the bedroom, 6 in the kitchen, and 6 in the office. Driving different cars on each track, you need to complete the campaign, single races, and time trials, while defeating the dev's best time on each map. All of the rest of it is pretty easy, the campaign and the single races, but defeating the dev time can be a pain. You need to sort of prime it, so you need to move stuff out of the way in order to create shortcuts and then try it, but you've got to have essentially a perfect run. If you see some of the times, I got them by milliseconds and not breaking them completely. It was just like barely getting past it. But it was a game that said it was going to be like 3 to 5 hours. I would say more. It was like 5 to 8. But again, maybe that's just because I am no good at racing games. We have 2 platinums left to get the 30, and the next one is also my 100th platinum. Now, where some people tried to get The Witcher, Red Dead 2, God of War for the 100th platinum, I went a bit of a different route. Seeing as I gave in and got the Peppa Pig trophy, I might as well, for the memes, make my 100th platinum.
Hey, Bingo, let's go play mermaids.
Bluey, just like Peppa Pig, complete all the episodes, but Bluey has you collecting a bunch of items in this game instead. All of them pretty easy to find, and then you just finish the mini games for the platinum. The last platinum is a game added to PS Plus for October, and that is Cocoon. Honestly, I don't know how to describe it. You play an alien moth or a moth thing where you work your way from world to world collecting orbs. Those orbs are then have worlds inside them, and you can then take the one orb into another orb to then solve puzzles. Like the different colored orbs do different things. It's essentially a puzzle game. You have to play it to experience it. It's not an easy game to explain. It's not hard to play, but it's definitely weird. The art style's great. The actual game itself is amazing. I just wish I was better at explaining it. There isn't really a story behind it. It's essentially just get from one place to the other. Or if there is a story, it went completely over my head. Now, the platinum for this is just to complete the game and then in different areas, wake up these statue things. But there is a chapter select, a pretty good one. You can actually go from like 0% all the way to 100%. You can pick your checkpoint. There's 100 checkpoints in the game. And there we have it. Illness, mistakes, self-sabotage, and bugs all along the way to get these 30 platinums in 30 days. I'm happy with the first half of the list, a little disappointed with the second. Now, they are all games that I wanted to play, but maybe not all in one challenge. I'm going to take a break now, sink my teeth into some Pokemon Legends ZA before starting my next platinum. What that platinum is, I have no idea. You let me know what I should be platinum down below in the comments section, and I'll catch you all later.